Good morning or good evening, everybody, and thank you very much for joining us today for the webinar, Better Understanding of Software 3.0. My name is Olena, and I would like to go through the structure of our webinar. It is divided into two parts. In the first part, you, together with Alec from Global Technical Support, will go through the information about Software 3.0. We will discuss about the build and what is different between software 2.0 and 3.0. For the second part, we invited Søren, and he is our biggest customer for a long time, and he became Mir CSI recently. He will share experience of upgrading robots to software 3.0 in a working environment, and then we will discuss reliability of the installation. So let's dive in, and please welcome Alec.
Thank you, Elena. My name is Alec Knapp, and I'm a global technical support engineer here at Mir HQ in Denmark. It has been my responsibility for getting 3.0 up and running on all of our robots here in the showroom and working through the bugs in the initial process. Let's start with why we are making software 3.0 and not just 2.14. Software 3.0 is a fundamental rebuild of some of the core systems of our software. This includes a massive overhaul of the planner, which alone would warrant a new subversion, and a complete software restructure. The focus of all these changes is on security, scalability, and maintainability. To start, let's look at how our current software is structured. Currently, we have an Ubuntu operating system running all of our services. The issue with running Ubuntu all stem from being unable to control what it needs and what patches are installed. This also means that upgrades and restores cannot be reverted. In Software 3.0, we move on to a Yocto-based Linux kernel with focus on containers to organize the services we need to run. This new kernel is highly customized to fit our exact needs, resulting in a much more lightweight installation. One of the immediate effects that you will notice with this is a much faster boot time and lower CPU usage. Additionally, in this version, we are bringing the Wi-Fi API closer to the kernel, giving us a much more stable Wi-Fi connection and greater control. Now let's move on to the features of our new software. Firstly, you will immediately notice a new user interface. We have kept the same general layout, so navigation is just as easy, but we have improved on some of the core functionality. The new UI will be faster, more responsive, and able to handle more simultaneous connections. We've also added search bars to the settings page, so you will no longer have to take the time trying to find that one pesky setting. In my personal experience, the search bar is one of the greatest additions and has helped me constantly since we first experienced it. Now on to probably the largest functional change, the planner. We've rebuilt the planner from the ground up. Now, it is faster in every aspect. If we take the following map as an example, the planning time from A to B has been reduced from 56 seconds to only 29 seconds, even when you consider the additional path smoothing. Now, we're going to show you two scenarios where the planner blows our current one out of the water. Here, we're going to focus on two scenarios. Firstly, when you change footprints. In our example, we have the 2.0 planner on the left and the 3.0 planner on the right. We can see that the 3.0 planner takes the footprint change in stride and starts again without hardly missing a beat. Secondly, the planner is now far, far faster at changing maps. Again, we have the 2.0 planner on the left and the 3.0 planner on the right. Both will run a simple mission to move to a point, change map, and move on, then reverse the entire process. As you can see, the new planner is already done changing maps and moved on before the first one is even properly localized and continuing. Then it will continue even further, and the new planner will be changing back to the original map almost before the old one is even done moving on to the first final position. This should allow customers to split up their maps more readily without fearing the long cycle times. Now let's look fleet side. Firstly, we have revamped the UI in the same way as the robot UI, but with the same dark theme that fleet users are familiar with. As with the robots, the layout is more or less unchanged with only small structural additions and reorganizations. We have added search bars here too. On top of these changes, we are moving away from a discrete PC-based fleet. Fleet will now only be available as a Docker container, allowing companies to easily integrate them to their own server setups. We are also introducing deadlock detection. When the fleet detects 2 or more robots have entered a deadlock state, it will be able to notify the user for a faster intervention. Along with all of these, the introduction of all these new features, we're going to be saying goodbye to a couple as well. Firstly, in Software 3.0, we will not support any Bluetooth-related functionality. This means that if you use any Bluetooth I/O modules or zones on your map, you will need to adapt your setup. Additionally, the AI camera will become a deprecated product and will not be supported starting now in 3.0. And while not removed, critical zones have been replaced by access zones to better tailor them to their intended use. Any site currently using critical zones will have to replace them with access zones during the upgrade process. Speaking of the upgrade process, I'd like to take a minute to talk about it. It is a little more involved than changing the software versions at the moment. This is because of the fundamental kernel changes that we've already discussed. You can expect a single robot to take about 30 minutes to upgrade, about half of which that is downtime that you could, for example, use starting the upgrade process on another robot. Your first upgrade may feel complicated, but our guides are very thorough. And after 1 or 2 upgrades, the process becomes very quick and straightforward. If you're asking yourself how you can get in on Software 3.0, just contact your local Mir representative and they can help you get the process started. We are still very early in the release process, but thanks to the efforts and patience of our earliest adopters, we have been improving every single day. Thank you.
Thank you, Alec. It was really interesting to hear about Software 3.0. Moving to the second part, I would like to introduce you to Serene, Mir CSI and customer. The Leoning company was one of the first one who has just real world experience of upgrading Mir robots to Software 3.0. And I believe many of you would like to hear how everything going right now. So let us begin. Welcome to our webinar, Better Understanding of Software 3.0. We are happy to have you on board today.
Thank you.
So let's start with our first question. Can you please tell us about your company and how long it have been using Mir robots?
So I'm working in a company. We are producing parts for the automotive industry. And how basically we got into getting the robots was because of lack of people and the decision that if the customer doesn't pay for the non-value added like movement, we need to do the same and get a method that we have the objects like raw materials, sub-assemblies, or any other kind of parts that are moving in the factory from point A to point B in an autonomous way.
Great. And how Mir robots are helping you in the process?
So for us, it's a big help because all the parts, all the movements, all the things that we need to move in the factory, they don't have to be moved by a person. They are moved by robots. And this is giving us a flexibility to use basically the people for the right purposes, where they need to think, where they need to put the value added.
Great. What type of robots do you use in your production area?
So we are using Mir 100, Mir 200, now Mir 250. We have also in one of our plants Mir 600. So we
Almost everything.
try to cover the whole thing. Yes.
This is nice to hear. We would like to know, how did your company come to a decision be one of the first one to test our new software 3.0?
So we come to this decision because we needed it. We have a high density of robots in our factories, and with the old software version, we had some limitations. So when you have limitations, the robots, they pile up. We had some struggles, and when we heard there is a new planner, wow, okay, let's see it. There is a new software release. It's a next gen. So we were immediately asking Mir, hey, can we do it also? Because we want to see if it's solving our problems. Yeah, and we want to scale the things up even more. So that's why we immediately applied for it.
Great. So let's talk about the upgrade process. Which location in your production area did you choose to start with?
So we started with a small fleet. We have two fleets. We started with the one small fleet. We have 8 robots in there.
Okay, but if this is for you a small fleet, how many robots are running on the big one in your production area?
So I will not give an exact number, but we have more than 30.
Wow, this is impressive. Okay, now I'm wondering, since when did you start using Software 3.0?
So we started to use the new software since mid of this summer.
Okay, so it's pretty early, but you already have some experience. Let's
Yes.
talk about the installation process and the reliability of the installation. How many robots did you upgrade at once?
We started with one robot. We were testing that robot on all the things possible. We stressed the robot with our integrations and with everything that we have in the factory. And yeah, after we had that one robot running and we saw that everything is fine with it, we immediately went to the next ones.
Okay, and how was difficult the installation process?
It was not that difficult. We expected for downtime. We expected for, as you say, difficulty. We were actually planning for 2 days of downtime, but in the end, it was not 2 days. It was by end of day, end of business day, which at almost 5 o'clock we were finished with the update. So we made all the updates on the robots, 8 of them, in few hours.
Nice. And did you face any difficulties? And if you did, how fast it was solved?
So we faced difficulties, but it's normal, I guess, for this kind of switching and the integration level that we have. But we had the proper team in place. We have the proper knowledge. So to give an example, the application engineer from the application team was in there on the premise because we were asking the support from Mir to get it, and also we were asking for the whole team to be available, and if something is going wrong, to be able to immediately jump and solve, because we have a running production. If we stop the robots, it's game over.
Yeah, you're right. And how was the support from Mir?
Instant.
Nice. This is great to hear.
The moment we had the first situation, there was in the naming for the different things in the old fleet versus the new one, they are different. Yeah, for instance, access zones. Yeah, and some naming in the missions, they are different. So of course we were using them all in our integrations, and when we made the update, we had this kind of difficulty. But we had again the engineer from the application team on the house, and then we had also the complete team from Mir available, and again in few hours we solved everything.
So instead of 2 days, you use only one, and this is a great news. I was wondering, what kind of preparation do you recommend for others, like before starting the upgrade process?
I cannot recommend that everybody is doing like we did, because we are using 2 fleets, and I know this one is not available for people just like that. But this is one good option to have 2 fleets, one for production and one for development. If this one is not available, definitely the colleagues from Mir, they need to be informed, and also to have a confirmation that they are on standby in the situation that something is going wrong. So this is the first one. The other one is, okay, do the update when you can control it in the production, when you have the time to do it, when even in production it's accepted that there will be a downtime for this update. But I guess these are the normal things.
Yeah, sure it is. And I'm wondering, how long did it take when everything went completely stable?
Well, it was a Friday and we were expecting to work also during the weekend, but we didn't. So we finished, and then of course over the weekend I was connecting remotely to check how things are going. The robots were running in production normally without any problems. There was no complaints because we have our communication channels, and there was no complaints over there also. On Monday when we arrived, we didn't take the coffee first. We were going to see how the robots are running. Very well, nothing to see, only positive things. And then of course we go for the coffee.
This is
But there was
impressive.
no special things afterwards. You do it, you make the update, everything is running.
Great. You're already using this software for a long time. Did you already experience how to do upgrades in the current software that you're using?
Yes. So we made an update already. We had the software update already on the next gen, and by comparison, it's way smoother than the other one.
Nice.
I was having the stress with USB sticks and so on, but it was smooth. You put it, it's running, and you're done.
This is good news. And what was your first impression of the new software?
I will not give you mine because I don't think it's that relevant, but I'll give you the general impression from the factory. So we are using, as I said, 2 fleets, and I would say the benefit is when you see the people from the factory coming and going in different areas, and they see different robots acting in different way. And to give an example, the guys who are using on a day-to-day basis the old fleet, they were asking why the robots in that area are running faster. They seems to go around us. They try to find a solution, and here the other ones they don't. So it's visible for people that they do not know, because we didn't tell to everybody, okay, hey, we are making an update, this is the next gen. So we didn't inform as in general. We were keeping the information to a handful of people that are relevant, as usually in the factory, but it is visible. And I think this is the confirmation that it's visible for the people that are using them. They see how it's running on the old one, how it's running on the new one.
Great. And have you experienced a difference between software 2 and 3? We talked a little bit, but we would like to hear how a new planner performing in the production area.
Way better. It's you cannot compare it. How fast it's reacting. If you have a situation where you have an obstacle, they are immediately trying to find a solution. Or for instance, we were trying by different ways in missions to keep the other robots moving a little bit of left, right, with the relative moves, just to get the idea where he is, and then to take an action to go over an obstacle, especially that we have super tight areas. And with these ones, with the new fleet, with the new software, they move. They don't want to sit. It's like they are like kids, they don't stop. They want to.
Non-stoppable.
Exactly, exactly. And this is the benefit. When you have the robots, they try to find an alternative, and even though they do not see as a final solution, they are still moving and try to find a solution. Yes, also on the old planner, it was trying to get a new global planning, but on this one, it's way better because it's doing it super fast and it's moving to find a different approach over an obstacle.
Nice. And we present a new access zones in Software 3.0. Did you already use it? And can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, we are using it. We use the in the old fleet also. If we do not use these measures for controlling them, for traffic control and all of this, we cannot run them. So this is coming in a perfect way. It's doing what it's supposed to do.
Nice. And the last question from me here, what is the biggest advantage of using robots on the new software version?
It's a good question. I think the biggest one is having them now much faster. Actually, in practice, we already start to implement more things on the same robots because now we have some extra capacity. Yeah, so in short, I think the biggest advantage is you can do more with what you have.
Nice. This is everything from me. Thank you, Søren, very, very much being together with us. I hope we can invite you for our next webinar and talk a little bit more within a couple of months maybe, and then you can give us update on Mir robots in your production environment. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving to the next part. Now it's time for questions. But before we will start, I would like to say a couple words about our Mir community, where we will be publishing our article with interview with Søren that we just take, and you will go through, just read information about it. And also we would like to include all your questions that you will ask a little bit later now with our answers, also like another article. So in case if you're missing some information, you can go and read. Just go to the community and see all the benefits that we would like to share with you. For the login page, you can just scan QR code, and if you are part of the community, you can just log in and see all updates, all your new questions that we answered, and maybe you can help others to find a solution. In another side, if you don't have an access to the community, you have an option to sign up and then we will create account for you, and then you will be a part of our platform and also facing all benefits that we would like to give to you, our support our customers and our partners, also the latest upcoming events, a lot of information and big knowledge that we would like to share with you to do your work much easier with robots. And now, please just write your questions in a Q&A session, and then we will take it one by one and answer it a little bit later. Thank you.